Welcome to Moments of Inspiration, highlighting practical lessons from each week's Torah portion. This week, Jews around the world will commence the Torah reading anew from the very beginning, the book of Beresheit, the book of Genesis. I'd like to share with you an insight that I heard from Rabbi Menachem Tendler, who is the rabbi of U City Congregation in St. Louis, Missouri. After the Torah tells us the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and the story of Cain and Abel, the Torah begins to give us a chronology of all the descendants of Adam and Eve all the way until Noah. And for each one, the Torah tells us how old they were when they gave birth to children and how old they were when they died. And this is true for all of them except for Chanoch. Chanoch is unique in that the Torah says that Chanoch did not die, but because he was a righteous person, he walked with God. The Midrash tells us that Chanoch's righteousness was demonstrated in his vocation. It tells us that he was a shoemaker and that he would stitch and fix the shoes that he made while his mind was occupied with the highest and most elevated thoughts. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter explains his elevated thoughts were making sure that each stitch would be perfectly sewn in order not to cheat his customers. We see from here that no matter how simple a job may be, it can be used to engage in acts of holiness. Based on this idea, I would like to share with you a beautiful and magnificent concept offered by Rabbi Shimon Schwab of blessed memory. Upon arising in the morning, many Jews will do a ritual washing of their hands and recite the blessing of Al Natilat Yadayim, blessing God who sanctified us with his commandments concerning the washing of the hands. There is another blessing that we just recited on the holiday of Sukkot. It has the exact same wording except for the last word. Instead of saying Al Natilat Yadayim, we say Al Natilat Lulav, which acknowledges God's command to shake the lulav and etrog on the holiday of Sukkot. The Art Scroll translation of the word Natilat in this blessing doesn't say washing, but it says taking. So is the word Natilat, as in Natilat Yadayim, does it mean washing? Or does it mean taking as it does in Natilat Lulav? The answer, says Rabbi Schwab, is that Natilat Yadayim means taking our hands and using them for a higher purpose. My hands are the hands of God. They are meant for me to use them for acts of holiness. What do we mean by acts of holiness? Well, when I cook food for dinner for my family, that is a mitzvah. That is an act of kindness. That is something holy. There is a special mitzvah in the Torah to guard our bodies, to stay safe. So when I eat properly and exercise, I am doing a mitzvah. When I get into my car and put on my seatbelt or put on my mask when I go outside during COVID, I am doing a mitzvah. I am doing an act of holiness. This is unbelievable. The very same action, which until now meant absolutely nothing, has the potential to become a mitzvah and a way for me to connect to God with no extra effort. All we need to do is to think and realize that we are doing an act of spirituality. We are connecting with God. And it transforms a most mundane act into a holy act. In other words, my hands become the hands of Hashem. Al Natilat Yadayim means I will take my hands and use them in your service. Whatever I create with my hands, I will give meaning to it, and in turn my hands will be used in the service of Hashem. Rabbi Mottel Weinberg of blessed memory was sitting next to a fellow Jew, and the person asked him, Rabbi, to you, what is the most beautiful part of Judaism? So Rabbi Mottel answered, the most beautiful part of Judaism is that everything means something. There's no such thing as doing something that is meaningless. No matter what situation a person finds themselves in, there is the ability to either waste the moment or transform it into something holy. That is the beauty that Judaism offers. Every decision means an opportunity to constantly be connected to the Creator of the world. My dear friends, as we conclude the holiday season and begin a long, dark, cold winter until the next major holiday of Passover, let us recognize what we're capable of achieving with our hands. Our acts that seemed so mundane a few moments ago now have the ability to become acts of holiness and connection to Hashem. Shabbat Shalom and have a great week.